Hello. What for?
Just a quick one, obviously. Our colleagues down at the suites, obviously you know everything's been going over alerted to us that you've been taking photos and things like that right outside the hotel.
On the street, yeah, on the street.
Because there's obviously a dispersal zone in at the moment and everything that's going on, so you can't be within.
No, I'm not interested in that property.
So, what were you taking photos of the hotel?
No, the layout of the street.
For any particular reason?
No, not at all. I'm not for or against. I'm not into any politics. You know.
Any idea on you? Anything like that? Nothing at all. Alright.
I'm just a member of public walking down the street.
Yeah.
I understand there's a dispersal order in place, and that's why I'm not trying to do anything out of any ordinary like that. I'm just interested in what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't hang about outside any gates or.
What's your hat?
Pardon?
What's your hat?
Oh, it's just happy-go-lucky, you know.
What we'll do is we'll verify you and if all that checks out, back to move on, alright? What's your first name?
Oh, don't give me a name.
You don't give your name?
No.
Right, okay, well obviously you can understand with what everything that's been going on round there, you taking photos in the direction of the hotel.
No, but basically, if they'll tell you, at not one moment was I putting my camera into their property, focusing on them. I kept moving around the place. I'm interested in all these industrial areas here. I'm going to take some photography around here on this industrial estate. I've got no interest in solely filming anything to do with immigration or like that.
Okay, obviously our colleagues have brought enough to notify us.
They were watching me. I'm thinking, what's he? I can see him on his radio. I'm thinking, I'm just stood here. I'm thinking, what's wrong with him?
Well, like you say, you've admitted to us that there's a space lot.
Yeah.
If someone goes up with a camera and they're taking photos.
Alright, guys, today we are going to step into a tense encounter where routine street photography turns into a police confrontation. A lone cameraman is stopped after being flagged for filming near a hotel under a dispersal order. What starts as a simple explanation quickly shifts into suspicion and authority checks. The cameraman stays calm, insisting he's only documenting public industrial surroundings, not targeting any group or property. The tone sets the stage for rising tension between public rights and police control. This opening already signals a conflict about visibility in public spaces.
Worry within the zone, do we know?
Yeah, he's right outside. Okay.
Well, what we'll do then is we have been notified that you are inside the dispersal zone, so we'll be issuing you with a dispersal notice, okay? All the information will be on here, but you do need to give.
Can I just ask you a question, quick, please? So, a dispersal, for what reason would that be if I'm telling you, one, I'm not here to cause any havoc in regards to what's going on. That has gone live all the way up and down the country. Yep. So it'd be stupid not to admit that you didn't know through the media what's going on there. But what I'm saying, what is my dispersal for? If I just
to be out of the zone, so you've come within the zone of dispersal. You've been seen taking photos. I understand you're giving us an explanation for that.
Yeah.
But our colleagues have felt enough for us to learn, obviously, of your presence there, and you have been within the zone. Therefore, we can issue you the dispersal notice not to return within this zone within a set period of time, which is 48 hours.
What, even just walking?
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
Seriously?
That's a dispersal.
That is a dispersal zone.
Yeah, but for what though? I've not done anything. I've not done anything.
That's why you're not getting locked up. You're getting given a ticket to say, do not go back there.
No, but I'm not interested in going back there. But what I'm saying.
Well, that's why we're going to give you the ticket.
And you were aware of the dispersal zone. You've even admitted that.
Yeah, so that's what. So that
within that perimeter, which you have actually gone into and breached.
Not. So can I not walk through there as a member of public?
No, because there's a dispersal zone.
No, it's a public footpath, sir.
There's a dispersal zone.
Whilst this is on, because it's only on for a set period of time, once that is relieved, then you can. But from.
Alright, guys, here the situation escalates as police officially move from questioning to enforcement. The cameraman is now informed he is inside a dispersal zone and will be issued a notice. He immediately challenges the reasoning, asking what law he has broken. Officers clarify it's not an arrest but a restriction order. The clash becomes less about filming and more about whether public space can suddenly be controlled through temporary police powers. This marks a turning point where everyday activity collides with legal enforcement boundaries in real time. Tension rises as the idea of freedom of movement is directly questioned.
You weren't doing anything wrong either.
We're dealing with you, aren't we? We can't deal with two people.
Come on, sir. What?
So we're dealing with you.
Can I have your caller numbers, please?
Yeah, mine's 455 now.
And yours, please, miss.
1702.
I think this is well out of order, this.
Okay, can I take your surname?
I don't wish to give. I've not committed any crimes. I've literally walked through the place, taking. If that constable in that van would tell you, I was taking the pictures of the other building. You know, for what purpose? It's a photograph. Photography's not a crime.
Right. But however, if you are causing harassment, alarm, and distress as well to the people that are there,
and I can prove there was not even one person about from the hotel, and that's what I'm saying.
You just said you weren't looking at the hotel; you were looking at the other buildings.
I'm aware of my surroundings. Who's on the street? There was members of public on the street, and there was nobody out of the hotel who wandered past me at any time I was there. Honestly.
Okay.
And I can't believe you're going to put a dispersal notice on for me for walking and taking pictures.
Dispersal notice is not specifically on just for you, is it?
Pardon?
It's anybody who walks down the road. They should have taken to site.
Well, they should close the road off.
Well, they don't need to close the road off.
Of course they do, because there's no signs there or anything.
You said yourself, it's common knowledge what's gone on.
Yes, but
The dispersal notice is advertised on social media.
Everybody
knows this.
So, right, do you know the Nicola Bully case? A lady went missing in St Michael's, right? There's a dispersal notice in place for people who are wanting to probably go down there, make a TikTok video, go onto private land and stuff. But the park isn't closed off for members of the public like myself. I can go down in that.
People are aware not to go down there, you know.
Yes, but it doesn't stop normal members of the public like myself. Like I'm saying, there's no agenda for me being there.
They don't want people down there, do they?
But so they need to close the street off, then, sir.
Well, we don't need to close the street off because there's businesses down there as well.
How can I? Am I entitled to go to the other business?
To which other business?
There's another hotel across the road.
If you go into a business and you've got a genuine purpose to visit that business.
All right, guys. This segment intensifies as the officer insists the cameraman cannot pass through the area due to the active dispersal zone. The cameraman pushes back hard, questioning how a public footpath can be restricted when he has committed no offence. Police maintain authority, stating it is temporary and legally enforced. The disagreement sharpens into a core debate about public access rights versus situational policing decisions on the ground. This situation exposes how quickly normal movement can be redefined under temporary legal powers. It becomes a live test of public rights in real space.
You were both on that front line on Friday getting all sorts hurled at us and abused.
And I don't agree with that.
I am not saying you do, but I'm just saying from what's happened and now this dispersal's in there to protect it, it's only on for a short while. And
Miss, can you accept that I'm a sole person on myself? I've got
I don't know you though, do I?
You don't know, but end of the day.
I appreciate where you're coming from. I'm also telling you from our point of view as well, from what we've had to put with.
Yeah, but I'm hoping, miss, that you could perhaps see that as a member of public, that we shouldn't be stopped from walking in areas where when we've got nothing to do with what's going on there.
Yeah, we don't know that you've got nothing to do with it, or do we?
You've come to question me.
Yeah, but you could easily come up with anything, couldn't you? At the end of the day, I'm not saying.
But this isn't Nazi Britain. This you are actually dealing with me now like I'm some suspect or criminal.
No, we weren't. We came up.
That's suggesting what you just said to me then.
Say verify you, and that's it. But then you've kind of come back with a lot of things as well.
Well, I'm on the understanding if you're not suspected of committing a crime, you don't have to give your details in the UK.
That's fine, and I'll just put your description down instead. All right, and I'll give you a copy of this just so that you've got a copy for your.
Yeah, I will be making complaints towards that because I don't think that my activity down there warrants me getting a slip of paper to say that I can't go back, because what happens if my vehicle was parked at the other side and I wanted to walk back to it? I'm walking around the whole industrial estates around here taking pictures.
It's not, is it? And then you would explain that to us and we would
I have explained why I was taking pictures down there though.
You've said you've been down there taking pictures?
Yeah, but
we're giving us notice to do not return back to that area. That's pure and simple. It's on the bottom of it.
So I can't walk down that street again?
Because then you'd be breaching the dispersal notice.
Seriously? And can I ask for the grounds again then please, for why I'm given this dispersal notice?
There's a dispersal notice down there, and you've been down there, so you're given a ticket to say not to return back to that area.
Seriously?
Yeah, you're not being arrested.
All right, guys. The argument shifts deeper as the cameraman demands clear justification for the dispersal notice. He repeatedly states he has done nothing wrong and highlights that other members of the public are also present without issue. Police respond that he personally is not being arrested but still insist the notice applies due to the zone breach. The debate now focuses on legality versus perceived risk rather than actual misconduct. This moment highlights the grey area between lawful presence and administrative control. Public space becomes conditional depending on situational enforcement. That tension keeps building with no clear resolution in sight.
I've got a license to fly a drone.
I've got permission to fly a drone.
Well, you don't need it in that area because it's the drone assist app.
You sure?
Yeah. I can clarify that for you now. I just want to ask you these questions before.
I don't understand why you'd want to fly a drone, to be honest.
Because I want to put this up to the internet now. This is what happens when a normal member of the public who's got nothing to do with anything in regards to immigration, opposing views or anything like that, people who know me know I'm not about that. Okay. I don't make political statements in my life or anything like that. I just never do it. I'm just all about a freedom person to be able to walk and do what he wants. Within the law.
Unfortunately, like I say, Riddler's Lane does dispersal notice on which will be active.
Because I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
When the police are coming under fire and stuff like that, you're stuck between both sides. I totally get that. But where the police are coming under fire, it's for simple things like this. When everybody who knows me knows.
It's not, is it? Because we're just giving you advice, and the advice is that's a dispersal zone. Please don't return to it because you're issued with a ticket. You know, I'm not throwing you against the wall. I'm not trying to search you or anything like that.
Well, it seems like it though. It seems like I'm being restricted in a public place.
We've been fine with you. We've been very pleasant with you. You've been very pleasant with us as well.
I'm quite annoyed now, actually. Okay. I could understand you wanting to speak to me.
Okay.
So it's within the CTI basically. There's no restrictions in the area. The wind speed is 9 kph at the minute.
Okay.
So if anybody wanted to fly a drone in that area, is there any chance?
All right, guys, this is where the cameraman strengthens his argument, stating photography itself is not a crime. He emphasizes he never entered restricted or private property. Police counter with concerns about harassment and public impact, though no clear evidence is shown. He challenges inconsistencies, pointing out other pedestrians were unaffected. The exchange evolves into a broader discussion about proportional enforcement and whether suspicion alone justifies restriction. Every claim is met with calm resistance and logical questioning. It exposes how quickly ordinary actions can be reframed as risk.
I want to know if I'm going to be getting perhaps bloody challenged just for having a drone in the air.
That's a very good question, and I'll try and find out for you.
Because I have to cover myself legally whilst I'm speaking to a constable, you know.
Yeah, no, I'll have that.
Yeah, and obviously be aware as well of everything that's going on. If you are flying a drone around that area, obviously it might attract a little bit more attention with obviously some things going on in the hotel, but we'll try and find out for you.
I fully agree what you're saying about attracting, but I don't think people's rights should have to stop.
No, I completely agree with you on that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm obviously just making you aware, obviously, what's going on around the area. There's a lot more officers, isn't there? There's a lot more attention being given to the hotel and other surrounding areas that went on Friday, and obviously you can appreciate that with how what you turned out to be. As you say, you've seen the videos yourself. You've seen how bad it got and escalated very quickly.
Yeah.
Which it was very unfortunate. It was an awful event to occur.
Yeah. Like I say, I don't make political statements, but I've heard both sides, you know. So at the end of the day, I'm not from Liverpool, so I can't comment, but I've never met a racist Scoutser.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah, no, that was right.
You know, but I'm not here to make a political statement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I won't be going back down there on foot, so there's no need for me to receive that. Okay.
Alright, is that fair enough for you? I think he's trying to find out about the drone.
About the drone?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, just like...
I didn't fail to mention in what type of drone. So within this area, I can only fly my 249 gram drone, which is registered.
All right, guys, tension peaks as frustration becomes visible in the cameraman's tone. He argues that being treated as a suspect despite no wrongdoing is unfair and compares the situation to broader issues of over-policing. Police maintain they are simply following procedure and that he is not under arrest. The cameraman raises practical scenarios like being unable to return to his parked car, pushing the logic of the restriction to its limits. Logic and emotion collide as enforcement is questioned in real time. Every explanation from police meets another counter-question.
That's all, just stay out the zone until it's on.
Yeah, it would be handy, see, if they put a sign up on the lamppost or something to say there is a... Because what about if, say for instance, a person goes down there, he doesn't know that there's a dispersal order, and he starts snapping away with his camera, chances are he might even be in handcuffs. For what? He doesn't even know.
Yeah, and obviously we try and spread it as much as we can through social media and things like that. But obviously we have the issue with here is the city's lights running all the way along here. So in like you said about road closure and things like that, it's almost impossible because the amount of destruction.
Yeah, but you know, because
yeah, do you mean the little
yeah, so with the dead end, they could put up where the van was burnt out.
Yeah.
They could basically put a message on that lamppost and the one at the bottom of the street by saying this is dispersal order. And probably contain the details within what they don't want you actually to do, because photography in itself, it's not unlawful or illegal.
No, I completely understand where you're coming from. I appreciate that, and we'll feed it back. But yeah, no, I appreciate that. We'll feed it back and see if there's anything they can put. Obviously, you're aware now, and the main thing is that until it's up, just stay out of that zone. But I think it's just
find out about a drone.
And then
no problems. But yeah, I'm going to go in here now. These lads, they're brilliant. You know, they'll show you around the trucks and everything, you know. Yeah, well, see, there's different people, you know. Some people get a bit scared of a camera. What's he doing? Yeah. Some people...
All right, guys, the discussion shifts toward drones and broader legal boundaries, opening a more technical exchange. The cameraman questions whether flying a registered drone in the area would also be restricted, citing airspace rules and licensing compliance. Police admit uncertainty and suggest checking with aviation authorities. The tone softens slightly as both sides acknowledge confusion around overlapping regulations, especially where public policing and aviation law intersect. The cameraman highlights compliance and responsibility throughout. Instead of confrontation, it becomes a problem-solving discussion. It's a rare moment of cooperation emerging from conflict.
249 grand.
Yeah. See what the councils can do sometimes. They can put a restriction on drones in the area.
Yeah.
But then it conflicts with the CAA. So what they would do is look in court and say, well, what was it reasonable to restrict his movement of flying? You know, was there any dangers? Did he, you know, there's all sorts to take into account, but every drone flyer should be mindful of doing the right thing, basically.
Yeah.
Every day's a learning day. Yeah, you're fine to fly it.
Yeah.
Because it's under 250
grams, yeah.
However, as long as it's not causing any harassment.
Yeah.
ASB.
Yeah. I always
I presume that you're a seat.
Most people don't actually know it's in the sky. You keep a reasonable height.
Keep an eye on it as well.
Well, you've always got to keep a line of sight. Yeah. So, like I say,
you know a lot more than me.
I might not even get back down there yet. I've got a lot to see on industrial here.
You're good then?
Yeah, I'm brilliant.
Do you want this?
No, I'm okay. Because like I say...
All right, guys, as the situation winds down, both sides reach a more cooperative tone. The cameraman explains drone specifications, emphasizing compliance with registration laws and safe operation. Police advise caution but acknowledge he has been reasonable throughout. The conversation shifts toward communication issues, with suggestions that clearer signage could prevent confusion. Ultimately, the cameraman reflects on how ordinary filming can be misinterpreted, reinforcing the broader debate about public perception and authority. This ending reinforces the core message: everyday actions can be wrongly seen as threats under strict enforcement. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.